This is a Stop Playing podcast with Sham and Shaka. I'm Sham.
I'm Shaka. What's going on, Sham?
Hey, man. Christmas movies.
You know, I've been, I don't watch them, but I've certainly seen a lot of the titles. The titles in and of themselves tell you everything you need to know. Like, they just churn these things out like a factory.
They do. And I've decided that if I ever go into acting, I need to get on Hallmark's payroll. Because these folks working. Yeah.
No, I mean, the amount, the volume of movies they churn out for Christmas. And there's no excuse for anyone not to be able to get a job if they're trying to act. Like, seriously, just give a Hallmark. Just give a Hallmark. They got like 50 Christmas movies.
They have 2 channels. So they air a Christmas movie, a new one, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday on both Hallmark and their Hallmark Movies and Mysteries channel. That is a ton of holiday movies. Not to mention the fact that they have movies year round that they rotate every season.
And you don't have to do a lot of market research as an actor to get in the character, because it's like 3 plots just seasoned different ways amongst the 50 movies. And
on the same set. Because I noticed that this little main street
the houses do be looking the same and all that. Yeah.
They have like one little area like downtown, like a little strip area where all the parking spaces are slanted, and they all have these like old town looking stores. All they do is change the decor each movie.
Well, yeah, because I mean, one of the 3 plots is, somebody from a small town goes to a big city and then comes back to the small town for Christmas.
I think
in some way, shape, or form. Yeah.
That's the only plot.
So they all come back to the same small town with the same downtown where you park in the slanted spaces.
Yep.
I was feeling real good. And I know, we're going to just recap, but I just want to jump out there. A couple weeks ago, when we last recorded on my birthday, I was feeling real good, wasn't I?
You were feeling really good.
Yes, I was. Listen, sometimes when I'm feeling good, the product suffers, but I am glad we taped on my birthday, man. I'll be a little bit more circumspect on future birthdays if we tape on it, but I'm glad we still did. I was happy to do it.
You were so happy.
Yeah. So it was a pleasure. Hey, listeners, maybe not so much for you, but bear with me on that. It was good to be 39. Feels good to be 39.
39.
Yeah. So how you doing?
I am doing all right. Like I said, I've been watching the Hallmark movies, but I've also been watching a lot of other TV. I've been watching some old stuff because they've just been like rerunning certain shows. Mm-hmm. So I was watching My Two Dads. You remember that show?
Mm-hmm. I do. I didn't really watch it that much, but yes, I do remember.
I think I was about 7 or 8 when that show came on, and I remember watching it every Wednesday night. And my mom would be like, "Go to bed," because it would come on at like 9 or 9:30 or something like that. And so I've been watching like the first season, and there was an episode where the daughter, who is 12 at this point, her father knows Davy Jones.
Okay.
Formerly from the Monkees, and he passed away a few years ago. And he comes to town and all excited, and they're hanging out, blah, blah, blah. They go to a concert one night, and then he loses her at the concert, can't find her. Turns out Davy Jones done took the girl and went to a hotel party and all this kind of stuff. And I'm sitting here looking like, thank God this is the 80s, because if that happened on TV right now, that would be outrage.
I'm about to say all kinds of letters written and all kinds of stuff.
Oh, they would try to cancel that show. Like, how you going to take a 12-year-old girl out behind that? Take her to a hotel party and all that stuff. But I mean, obviously it was harmless. It was just kind of like, but still, like, I was thinking like, man, TV has changed dramatically.
Yeah.
And then I was also watching before we move on, and I'm rambling about all these old shows, but I was watching like 5 seasons ago of like Keeping Up with Kardashian, because they did like a marathon or whatever. It was just on my TV, and Brody Jenner, the former stepbrother of the Kardashian girls, and Rob was on there, and he basically was like, if it came down to saving Reggie or Kanye, he would save Reggie.
I mean, I'm with him. I mean, look, I don't know them, but the point is Kanye right now. Yeah.
I just thought it was
I
hilarious because I had seen that episode before, and I guess it just never dawned on me how foreshadowing that statement could be, you know? And I think he was just salty because Reggie had invited him to the wedding and said his girlfriend could go, but Kim was like, I don't want outside people. Like, he had a +1 that he had just met, and Kim was like, we don't really know her like that, so let's not bring her. Wow. But Reggie let him bring her. So he was like, I'm team Reggie all the way.
Yeah. Reality TV show note real quick. They are advertising the Peter Guns cheaters. But I haven't seen them yet. So I guess they're going to come out soon. But there's footage. So they've been taping shows. And Peter Guns is fully in the driver's seat. And he's acting just like we thought.
Everything you want and know him to be.
Yes, exactly. So I can't wait. And finally, the other thing I was going to say, not TV related, just in general, I am in the holiday spirit, Sham, for real. Like, I have a dumb Christmas list. Like, dumb.
Wow.
Yeah. And, you're on it, of course.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
I mean, consequently, I am not in the holiday spirit. I am just out here waffling, waiting for it to be over.
Yeah.
I've been watching the holiday movies, but that's as far as in the spirit that I'm going to get. And I, for once, do not have a list. Like, I don't, like, if somebody would ask me right now, what do you want for Christmas? Nothing. I don't know. Like,
And I'm gonna keep it. You're in the majority. A lot of people are surprised when, and I'm not telling them to be like, "Oh, I'm in the holiday spirit. I'm gonna get you something. Give me something." I'm gonna keep it $1. A lot of people I've had to ask for their address because I plan on sending them something, and I didn't really even feel like playing a game about it. So I was like, "Yo, I'm gonna send you something for Christmas," and they'd be like, "Yo, like." And they kind of look at me like, do you want something? And it's like, no, I don't, man. I'm in the holiday spirit. And no, people, I'm not balling out of control, sending people crazy, like expensive stuff. No, it's really like thought that counts stuff. So yeah, and that'll be yours as well.
I appreciate you. And it's funny because I usually will buy you and give you a gift, but I just haven't.
You've given me a couple of good gifts.
I've not been in that space. Like,
if you're not in that space, that's and trust me, the majority of people, and we'll talk about why. I mean, everybody has their own reasons, but we'll talk about why. But you want to tell people where they can find this first?
Absolutely. You can find us at www.stopplayingpodcast.com. You can go there and we'll show you how to get to us on your podcast platforms. Obviously, we're on Apple, Google, Spotify. But if you go into www.stopplayingpodcast.com, you'll see every podcast platform there, and you can click on that. You'll also see links for YouTube and our social media, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter.
Excellent. And our pre-production meetings are actually a lot more official, guys. And in the one that we had before this one, we have a lot of exciting things coming up. We're bearing down on the end of this season, and whether it's the end of this one, the beginning of the next one, this ship taking off. I like something you said. Like, we're just kind of getting now. I think a lot of unexpected assets and news,
right?
When you're not looking for it, I remember our first year or two or whatever, a few weeks, the stuff we're getting now, like, we would have tried to map out and plan, and there's no way we would have ran ourselves ragged and wouldn't have been able to get it.
Absolutely not. I mean, spoiler alert, we about to have a really big guest on the show.
A huge one.
We would have never thought we could pull 2 years ago. So stay tuned for that, guys.
Yep. And the guest is excited, which is like so exciting for us.
Right.
So, and we got a lot of other potential guests coming on. So, good. So, with that being said, that's how our weeks have been. So, Sham, the world, I mean, look, the year's getting ready to come to an end, and we have a lot of big stuff happening in December as we get ready to go into 2021. It's weird how the pandemic has it's been basically like put in a bottle of 2020, because the way it's looking as 2021 begins, it will begin with us really trying to mitigate the COVID with the vaccine and all that. So last time we taped, Pfizer, Moderna, the vaccination wars, 45 came out and announced it. So we knew we had a vaccine, and we knew they were advertising it, and we were on the verge of getting specifics. Now we have the specifics. The FDA is, they want to fast track the approval of the vaccine. It's been fast tracked. So what we're looking at is the vaccine will start going out this week, really, the 11th. Mm-hmm. Is the date that we keep getting. Monsef Slaoui is the doctor's name, and I have to get that man's name right because he's up there with Uncle Tony at this point. I saw Sham. You know what the imagery that gave me comfort, and we've been talking about this. Yeah, I'm not taking a vaccine unless Uncle Tony says okay. I saw Uncle Tony stand behind that man on the podium, and he was nodding his head and all that. I was like, okay. When the man was talking, I was like, okay, all right. He trusts him. I trust him. And on top of that, if you hear this man talk for he's been on Meet the Press basically every week. He's been on State of the Union every week. And he knows his stuff. He actually had private practice and was, for lack of a better word, called out of retirement to head Operation Warp Speed. And Jake Tapper asked him the other day, he said, hey, listen, if Joe Biden asks you to stay on, so that you can keep helping with the pandemic and the vaccine, you're going to do it. I liked his answer. He was kind of like, I want to help everybody, but I was retired. Like, I came on, I set a goal. This is what I like about him. He said, we set a goal that we wanted to have at minimum 1, if not 2 viable vaccines by the end of the year. And he basically was like, everybody left us out of the room when we said that, and we've accomplished that. He was like, so I'm very proud of that. And I do want to help the American people, but I need to get back. I want to get back to my family. So I'll help in a limited capacity. Like, yeah, I'm going home. But yeah, he answers questions, and people been trying to try him on because he's giving numbers. He's like, look, we want to get 20 million out. As soon as the FDA gives the approval and everything's cleared, which they've done now, we want to get 20 million out before the end of December. And then he's giving numbers like 40 million. And then he was like, look, by March, 100 million people, point blank. Now the states control it. So they'll control who gets what. And he's like, we can't control that, but we can control what the CDC recommends to the states. And then when they've been playing clips of people challenging that. And he was like, yeah, well, people also challenge when we said we would get it out in a year. And we've done that. Or before the end of the year, and we've done that. He was like, so there's nothing wrong with having goals. And if we come up short, that's fine. But I'm not going to backtrack, and I'm not going to be afraid to at least say a goal. Yeah. And I like him.
And look, transparency is key.
Exactly.
There's no reason to dance around it. This is what it is, and this is how it should be done. Hopefully it'll be done this way. I guarantee Maryland's going to go ahead and just give it to all the frontline workers first and first responders, which I think they should do.
Yeah, actually, not just Maryland. I think the whatever federal, I don't want to say the CDC because anything they're involved in is questionable. But Anthony Fauci, all those, there was a board, and then the transition team too, and they officially said what we were saying: frontline workers first. And they were like, I think the caveat, they were like elderly people in retirement homes. Because those are just super spreader places.
Right.
And then after that, the people we were talking about, retail workers, stuff like that, people who have to deal with people, the general public. But, like everything else, unfortunately, we already know what's going to happen. You said it, people with resources, whatever, they're going to cut to the front of the line and get it. Also, half of the governors in this country are ignorant, like I said before, and their states are going to mishandle this. This is going to be a prime example of where you live will adversely affect how you get this you live in Maryland. You live in a good state where the governor has some sense and will do it in a sensible fashion. Mayor Bowser, for any other issues I've had with her outside of the pandemic, has handled this very well. And I think we'll get the vaccine out in DC how it needs to be done. But not everybody can say
that. South Dakota.
I was about to say, South Dakota probably don't even believe in the damn vaccine. So the only other thing I wanted to say about the vaccine too, and this has been a big topic, and I want to use our platform and you know give your thoughts as well. Part of the concern is people not believing in the vaccine and they're not going to take it, especially Black people. And when
they still not over the Tuskegee experiment.
And that's what I was about to say. When he was on State of the Union, Jake Tappan, I like the way Jake Tappan said it because you have to say it like this. He said, look, we'll keep it frank. Minority communities, especially Black communities, do not trust the scientific community, and they have reason to because of the racist history, if we're talking about Tuskegee or everything else, of the scientific community and their basically exploitation of the Black community and lying to the Black community. He was like, so they have reason not to trust it. Now, Slawi, he himself is Middle Eastern. So he was like, look, and I like the way he answered it. He said, and they have reason not to do that. That being said, the right people, President Obama and Bill Clinton and George W. Bush have pledged to take the vaccine on air just to show. But I like the fact that people are acknowledging, don't just be out here calling Black people stupid for not trying to do it. We have reason not to trust the government and stuff like this. But that being said, I'll say this. We cannot be left behind in taking the vaccine, though. We have reason not to trust it, but do not forego taking this vaccine and let everybody else take it, and our community still suffers. So Black people, I'm not saying we got to get over it, quote unquote, but we need to like get out, pay attention, go out and take this vaccine so we can start moving on with our lives. I don't know what your thoughts are on that.
I think if you are a person who doesn't mind taking vaccines, then go ahead and do it. I don't know how I feel about that because I've only taken the vaccines that I've supposed to take just to like go to school and stuff like that. Like the ones that are set up for, you got to take this before you go to elementary school. I had to get a couple vaccinations before I went to Hampton.
Yeah. Stuff like measles and stuff. If you didn't
stuff
have
like that. But like, I'm not a flu shot person. I don't do that every year like a lot of people do. I've never had the flu to my knowledge. So, I don't know. I mean, granted, COVID is way worse than the flu. That is on record. But I don't know if someone like me who has a really strong immune system, and I never get sick, I don't know if this would make me how my body would react to it. I'm not like I'm not like no way, no vaccine, but it's definitely something that I'm thinking heavily about because of how strong my immune system is. But like, I don't know.
So I'm the opposite. I have an immune deficiency. Technically, I would probably be considered high risk. So yeah, I mean, I don't want to jump the line in front of people who really, really need it because I don't have to be out in the general public every day. So, I mean, I can mitigate risk in that respect. But once it comes to me, once the opportunity comes to me, I will take the vaccine. There's no question about it.
Yeah. I'm not against the vaccine whatsoever, but I just think about how I react to certain things. Like I actually did have a flu shot one time and it was the worst experience that I ever had.
That's a good point. I got the flu shot and that's the sickest I've been in a while. I don't get it every year either, based on that experience. This was maybe once. 5 or 6 years ago. And I got really sick. I got really sick. I was like, yo, that being said, I have gotten it since then, but it's not something I feel like I have to be, you got to catch me in the right mood to get a flu shot. Like that particular year. Yeah, I agree with you in that respect. But like you said, this is kind of a little different than the flu. But same principles do apply. The people who really, really need to take it. Are you watching this game?
No, actually.
Yeah, I'm sorry to interrupt. We're talking serious, but it's I like when we watch games when we do this because we get all serious and then something happens. We both like football, so it's like, well,
I mean, it's not much better. Like they're still losing. Like so,
they're still losing, but it's a lot of time left, and some craziness is happening out there. So, and some craziness is happening tonight. So, look, it's Monday the 7th, and we'll talk sports later. But it's been a really, really interesting couple of weeks in sports since we last taped. So, yeah, I can't wait to get to it. So, yes, but look, in general, the vaccine news is good. In general, because it gives us light at the end of the tunnel, and we need it, Sham, based on some of these statistics. And I know it seems like, and I asked myself, I said, look, do I want to come on a podcast every single week and just sound like the harbinger of doom and give all these horrible statistics? But then on the flip side of that, it's one of those things like, and I'm not going to get into it yet, and I won't spend that much time on it, but these statistics are terrible. They're horrible. They're just horrible. And they're getting worse. And I feel like even in our small way, we got to get the information out there like, man, y'all need to calm down, period. Do that. Now, I'll jump back real quick and then we'll get through because we got a lot to get through. Sham, President Biden, Vice President Harris, as it pertains to COVID, so I'm going to wrap a few things together so we can get through it quick. They had an interview on CNN. You didn't see this, right?
No, but I know the underlying story behind what,
Yeah. So they this was their first joint appearance in an interview setting since the election, and it was very good. They covered a lot of stuff. I actually didn't watch all of it live, of course, and there was other stuff on. I think it was on Thursday, so I think I was watching the game too. But Jake Tapper, it was with Jake Tapper and the two of them. They covered a lot of stuff. They covered COVID and everything. The big thing that I take out of that, so there were two things, and we're kind of talking about both of them. They were talking about the cabinet. And Joe Biden was still selecting it. And the big thing there is, he made a pledge to make it diverse and all this stuff. And yes, we even talked about it here. We want that. But at the same time, already, even then, people weren't satisfied with the diversity. Now, that's fine if like the numbers bear that out. But they're not even giving the man a chance to like fill the position, Sham. And people are already complaining. Mm-hmm. And it's one of those things like whether it's black people, Hispanic people, women, whoever, people act like, so for example, let's say black people, we can't expect every position to be black. You know what I'm saying? And they're not enough black people. It's like, well, they're already like 3 or 4 more than definitely his opponent. If it's diverse, that means it's going to be a few people out of every camp. And, I saw a meeting with him and the team, and it looked pretty diverse to me. And it's like, and plus, what do y'all want? Y'all just want a photo op of like a room that looks like the UN? Like, if the people know what they're doing, they know what they're doing, period. So, yeah, I don't know. It's just crazy to me. Now, one thing about the cabinet, Sham, shameless plug for my school, but I feel like every time I brought up my high school, it's been in a bad way, so I will say this. Janet Yellen, the Treasury Secretary, both her son and her nephew are in my graduating class at St. Thomas. I know them both. Her son is named Alex, her nephew's named Alex, same last name. Her son is named Robbie. It's her husband's name. But both good guys. And Alex listens to the podcast when we put out our statistics on about how far we've gone up. He hit me back in Chartable. He hit me back and was like, yeah, good job, blah, blah, blah. I've been listening. And that was way before this. So shout out to them.
All right.
Yeah, I know, right? I was like, hey, Sham, I might hit him up and be like, hey, tell your mom, get on that check. She's not in there yet, so she can't control it. But when she get in there, one of us has not gotten her first stimulus check. So,
no, actually, I did. I got it last week.
Oh, that's right. You did. Well, look, tell her get on that second one. send us all the money. But any thoughts about the cabinet?
Nah, my only thought about that is people are always going to have something to complain about. They're going to want to complain. I feel like the cabinet is very diverse.
Exactly.
There are a lot of minorities in that cabinet, whether they're Black or women or brown or Asian. There's a lot of minorities in the cabinet, and that's a win in itself.
Yep. And then look, I just made a plug, so might have to line a potential guest up once she gets in office. You know what I'm saying? So I'll talk to them about that. So it was a good interview, though. I think we've said it. Joe Biden is really, I think, seeing his demeanor, he's embraced the whole, like, I'm a decent guy and I'm going to, my tone in being president is going to be one of, leadership through like conciliation and mediation. I'm not going to be out here like acting extra and whatever. I'm really going to be like Uncle Joe. You know what I'm saying? And I think he's embracing that and it's coming across. So we need it. So look, his opponent, our soon-to-be former president, who for
opponent though,
for father's sake, Sam, I will miss 45. He's been retreating more and more. I mean, you said it last episode when I was kind of freaking out about his challenges and stuff like that. That all of this is going to go in a brick wall. I mean, he's throwing case after case after case, and they're just getting shot down. The dangerous part, and I didn't really, vocalize it as well as I wanted to, but we are getting to the dangerous part of what he's doing. People have been threatened. Down in Georgia, they're having this runoff, and he's campaigning down there, and he's calling every election fake and a sham and all that. And people, the election officials who are doing these recounts and stuff, they've been threatened. And I like that guy. I had his name, but not the secretary, but basically the guy in charge of voting in Georgia, had a press conference and basically was like, look, whether it's the president, whether it's Kelly Loeffler, who trashed Sham, I'll get to in a minute before we wrap this up. He was like, somebody, one of them has to stop this. People getting threatened. He was like, I'm a Republican. I voted for the president. I voted for all these people. And I'm telling you right now, like, he basically was like, they're trash. He said this at a press conference. And he was like, they need to stop this. So something big happened today. Rudy Giuliani has COVID.
Does he really though?
Yeah, he does. He's in the hospital.
Damn.
Yeah. He's hospitalized. So he has. Yeah. And remember his son had it. Mm-hmm. So he has it and he's in the hospital, and people think, and the president has kind of made some signals that, that in and of itself could kind of short circuit like the rest of this whole election challenge thing, because
you mean not the part where all the courts keep throwing out all of the
exactly, because they were going to keep fighting that. Like he was going to keep fighting that because he wants a pardon. He wants a pardon.
And did he ask for one today from his hospital bed? He asked
for one today, and he's been asking. No, he hasn't been asking, but it's been implied that he wanted one. But yeah, today, he's playing the sympathy card. And Politico laid this whole thing out even before he got COVID. Like, look, the reason he's doing all this stupid stuff, he been Rudy Giuliani, is because he wants a pardon. Because he is afraid that he knows he did some illegal stuff when he was trying to investigate Biden with the whole Russia thing. And he don't want to get in trouble for that. So he wants that pardon to protect him. Just like 45 is trying to think about pardons to protect all his family, because he knows all of them been doing dirt. So all of them been doing dirt.
So why is he suing for the 2.5 million back?
Okay, he isn't. That's a misprint in what we were reading. There's a supporter for Trump who donated not 2.5 million, $250 million, Sham. Oh no, I'm sorry. It is 2.5 million. He's raised 200 million, period. By all these challenges, he set up a committee. Yes, one person, a hedge fund investor, wants $2.5 million back that he invested in this campaign to challenge, because once he saw Rudy Giuliani in that clown circus, Sidney Powell is the lady's name, who I didn't know last time, who was out there talking about Hugo Chavez and all that. Once he saw that clown circus, he was like, I want my money back. I compare him to the people who donated to the wall and it turned into a Ponzi scheme.
I just want to know, that dude will never be touching any money of mine because he don't know how to invest money well at all.
Sham, it's incredible. The dude I'm talking about, he has, I had his name, but I don't care. It doesn't matter. He's a hedge fund manager and he is a legit billionaire.
Wow.
How you get that smart and how you invest all that money and do all that, and then you decided you wanted to take $2.5 million and invest in, essentially a clown circus for the last 3 weeks? He talk about the plan is not unfolding as he thought it was. First of all, they called you and asked you for money for like 2 seconds. You gave it to him without giving any kind of research. Like you said, if I was one of his clients, I'd be like, so look, your track record is all right, but like, this is horrible decision making. Give me my money back right now. You're suing to get your money back? What did you think would happen? Yeah, so whatever.
I didn't think you could sue to get donation money back, because that's essentially what you did. You donated.
Oh, yeah. I mean, he's suing. I don't think he's going to win that. He's just mad. He wants his money back, but I don't think he's going to get it. Yeah. Nobody told you be stupid with your money, Slim.
Just out here keeping judges employed, even though most of them can stay employed until they die or retire. But still, just keeping these judges busy.
Exactly. So that was one of the funny updates. Look, before we wrap the news up, so look, this is dire stuff. Sham, we have to say the numbers. We are averaging over 200,000 cases now, period, every day. 2,300 deaths at least every day for the last 4 or 5 days. Hospitalizations are way up. There's some hospital systems that have reached over 90% capacity. So we're getting to the breaking point. This is the dark time of winter that they said would happen, when everybody had to go indoors, and because nobody was doing anything in the summer and fall to mitigate this. The vaccine is around the corner, but it's one of those things, the phrase is darkest before the dawn. It's about to be like that. Oh,
yeah. They definitely said it was going to get worse before it got better.
Yeah.
And people aren't helping the situation because they're out here being foolish.
And in the face of all these numbers, people are still being foolish. But that's where we're at, though. We're over 200,000. So we will get to that 250,000. Over the last few days. Oh, and forget the numbers. Here's the jarring piece. They said yesterday, COVID is now the leading cause of death in the U.S. over the last week. So before that, it was, whatever it was, heart attacks, car accidents, whatever you want to say, murder, whatever it was. Now it's COVID.
Of course it is.
There it is. So we need this vaccine to get out, and we need people in the meantime, because that's going to take months for it to really kind of have the effect that we need. So before that, people got to stop acting ignorant. A lot of these states are going back into lockdown. I think Maryland is, kind of going back in phase 2. California is in complete lockdown. Like Gavin Newsom's not playing out there. So, schools are still open, but everything else, stuff is closed. Stuff is closing back up. So that's that. I have a couple of interesting stories. The Hungarian politician is just hilarious. Sham, do you have the basic facts of this one?
By the way, before we get into this,
okay.
Belgium is a beautiful place. Let me just say, the chocolate, fantastic.
Sure.
So a Hungarian politician resigns after a party that he was having in Brussels is raided by the police. You know what he was doing at that party?
I know. Tell the listeners.
Your man's was having an all-male orgy.
Yeah.
In a gay bar district. And the only reason why anybody found out is because there were some neighbors that complained about the noise. And when the police got there, they found 20 people in the apartment. Mm-hmm. And 2 of them had the nerve to instantly invoke diplomatic immunity.
Right. And he's trying to invoke it once he got caught. He wasn't one of those 2. He was, Shem, do you remember what he was doing?
Why don't you tell us what he was doing?
Sham, the man climbed out the window. He was not butt naked, but he had his underwear on. He climbed out the window and ran down the street.
With a backpack on.
With a backpack with drugs in it.
Yep, narcotics. And
yeah. He was wild.
Bloody though. His hands were bloody.
Probably because I think he may have broken the glass to try to get out the window or something, or like scratched his hands, like going out the window, going down the steps. Look. You gave the basic facts. Here's what's great about this. Number one, this man is a member of the Conservative Party there. Uh-huh. So this will be like if Ted Cruz or somebody was caught doing this here.
Yosef Zezer is his name.
Yes, that's his name. He's part of a hard right party there that has made part of their platform anti-LGBTQ.
Yep, the Fidesz party.
Exactly. They part of their platform is overtly marriages between man and woman, like basically intolerance for homosexuality. And here he is at. You said there were 20 people at the party. There were 20 men, basically. They were it
was an all-male orgy.
Yeah, it was an orgy. Most of the people there were naked. I like how the people there, the people that you're talking about, as soon as the cops walked in there, they basically was like, I have diplomatic immunity. No, you don't. and the article said it. You have diplomatic immunity if you're doing something in the capacity as ambassador and it, could conflict with laws. This is the reason you said it was a noise complaint. It was, but the reason it was a serious noise complaint is because they're on a lockdown order and they have a threshold for how many people you can have in your house. 20 is way more than that. It's supposed to be like 10, I think.
Yeah. Well, the neighbors heard the noise and was like, what the heck?
What's going on? So they called the cops and then the cops got there and was like, okay, this isn't just a noise complaint. You guys are now breaking the lockdown order. Which is why all y'all gonna get in trouble. Which is why they try to proclaim immunity. He's like, you don't have immunity from this. This is a lockdown order that you guys are breaking. We don't even care. I saw the article. They said we don't even care that you guys are like having a gay orgy. I mean, we don't care about that.
We care about the 20 people in this mug.
We care about the 20 people in here. Yeah, the gay orgy is what you need to explain to your hard right constituents who are against gay people. That's your problem. But he had a backpack. Now, he made a statement talking about, I don't know how the drugs got in the backpack.
Yeah, he went on ahead and resigned because
he resigned on some like, I'm gonna resign. I don't want to be an embarrassment, but I want it out. Too late. I don't know how the drugs got there. It's like you put them in there and then you ran out the window with them.
You're an embarrassment no matter where you are at this point.
Yeah, you were running down the street in your drawers, cutting up your hands. So yeah, very funny story there.
So let's move on to something lighthearted and actually something very cool.
Yes.
So there was an embryo frozen in October of 1992.
Yep.
And it had stayed that way until February 2020. A couple in Tennessee, Tina and Ben Gibson, had trouble with fertility, as a lot of couples do. For nearly 5 years, they were trying to have a baby and it just didn't happen. And then they had read in saw in a local news station that you can adopt an embryo. So they connected with the National Embryo Donation Center and they were able to adopt a frozen embryo. Again, that was frozen since October 1992. And the baby was born just recently in October. And that is exactly 27 years from when the embryo was actually made and frozen. That is remarkable. That is a thumbs up to science. Because
nothing to say about that except how cool it is.
That's dope. Like it's not something that you think about. Because I feel like, women say, a lot of women say they're going to freeze their eggs, but like, I just think that's almost 30 years. Like that baby could have been born at any moment in those 27 years, but to be an embryo for that long and to be able to this family to now be able to say they have a child of their own is awesome.
Yeah, it is. And there's some things I get a little cheesy about. One of them is Time's Person of the Year. It's no longer called Man of the Year. And good. Whoever they choose, it should have something to do with science. Whether it's Uncle Tony, whether it's whoever. It's been a quite remarkable year for science. I mean,
for a short period of time, I thought that he would definitely be voted the Time Man here, but there's been so much backlash and negative response to him. I don't know if that would still be a thing, but I certainly would hope that he would be considered for something like that.
Yeah, to that point, Hitler was Time of the Year or Man of the Year at some point. So there used to be a time where time, no pun intended. There used to be a time where Time, or when it was called Time Life, didn't care about that. And they were just like, look, who had the biggest impact on the year, whether you like them or not. So, whether it's 45 or whoever. But, we live in an age now where people get outraged and companies get scared of outrage. So you're right. He may not, because of the stupid backlash against Uncle Tony. But science in general, overshadowed by all this vaccine and the story you just talked about and everything, HIV got cured this year. At least there was a person cured of it.
Mm-hmm.
So, just stuff like that. And then, of course, the vaccine in and of itself. So, Dr. Slowy, hey, man, you came in month number, you've been working on it, but the point is you came to the forefront month number 9, 10. Yeah, you might be a late candidate for that. Because every show he's been on, they're like, yo, you're an American hero. Like, it's not like you did this by yourself, but you're the face of the vaccine. But no, that's an awesome story, though, for real, with the embryo. When you sent me that, that's one of those stories, guys, Sham and I send each other stories. And a lot of times, again, I'm working. I had to do a double take, like, what is this saying? Okay. And then there's also, I'm like, yo, I'm going to read this story later. I can't read it right now, but I'm not getting it at the beginning in terms of like, I got just a confused face, but yeah, cool. But unless you got anything else, that's all political and world news we got for tape. It's been an interesting week and we're bearing down. Oh, one thing, not really a story, just to mention, stimulus. We got to get this stimulus. We joked about like the checks. Congress is going back and forth about it and getting nothing done, and people need this money. And, so hopefully we get a deal done this week. That's going to be the big news.
So going into entertainment. So it's been a couple weeks since we recorded, and during the week of your birthday, actually, they had announced some Grammy nominations. Now, I'm not going to go through the Grammy list. Y'all can go online and look for it. But I will tell you something that drew my attention. It was the fact that The Weeknd and Halsey were very upset that they were snubbed from the Grammy nominations. Mm-hmm. Halsey, do you even know who she is?
No.
Some people do. So she's offended that she didn't get nominated. Now, The Weeknd, we both know.
Yes,
and
I know The Weeknd.
I personally am not a fan. I think his voice is very subpar and nasally. However, there are a lot of people who like him. And apparently he had like one of the best albums of 2020. And one of the singles off that album has been like the best single. Who knew? Somebody, not me. But anyway, he came after the Grammys hard for being a snub. And, he basically was like, look, the Grammys are corrupt and they remain corrupt. And I guess he had a single called Blinding Nights, or Blinding Lights, that became like the biggest song of like 2019, not 2020. Yeah. But he's pissed. And Harvey Mason Jr., who is like the interim CEO of the Grammy Foundation, because the lady that was the CEO, she, after like 6 months, was like, I'm out, because she was another person that felt like it was corrupt.
Okay.
He basically gave him an apology and gave him like the blanket, like, look, there's a lot of talented artists, blah, 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 blah. You're talented. And the crazy thing about it is he was slated to perform at the Grammys. And once he found out he didn't get no nominations, he's like, yeah, nah, I'm good. But a lot of people think that he didn't get nominated because he agreed to do the Super Bowl.
Okay. So let me just, I will say this. I don't agree with him, like, or I'll put it, here's a better way to put it. You can't have somebody perform and if they're up for nomination, not nominate them. I'm not saying they have to win, but if they're good enough to perform at your show, they're going to have to be nominated. I'm not saying he should make a big deal because honestly, as you were going through that, I view the Grammys as a lesser version of the Oscars in this sense, only in this sense. We live in an age now. I mean, there's still the prestige of their field, but and artists can be successful without having won one or even be nominated for one. But you want that recognition. So I'm not in that field. I understand how it is when you feel like you've been disregarded. But yeah, you're gonna ask me to perform, but like I'm up for nomination and probably should be nominated, and I'm not by your committee or whatever. Yeah, that's kind of a slap in the face. I agree with the sentiment of that. Yeah.
I understand it because he's upset about not being nominated, but you have to remember, like, there are people who perform during a Grammy show without being nominated all the time. Sure. Like sometimes, to me, it's just like hurt feelings. And this whole Grammys corrupt and all that kind of stuff. Y'all knew that.
Corrupt how? Like,
what? But y'all know, like, it's always going to be a certain subset of people that's going to decide who wins. And it's all political. Sure. It's like any reward. It's like any award show. Like, you have to literally be a politician and put your music in front of them and kind of, for lack of a better term, kiss their asses to get a nomination or even a win, unless you are a person of whom they consider to be prestige at this point. So unless you're Beyonce or Alicia Keys or anybody at that point, no, you don't. They don't really have to politic, but everybody else does.
I feel like there's, to your point, everything's politics in the sense of, even if it's not necessarily like a direct ass kissing, there may have to be some like machinations you got to do and moves that like your manager, your agent, whoever. There's a lot of these, kind of back office deals and stuff with every award show. Just to get back to like performing and not being nominated, of course, they have so many performers that it stands to reason that a lot of them are nominated and that it happens all the time. That being said, if I felt that I had a legitimate product that should have been up for nomination and y'all felt I was good enough to perform, I'm going to be mad. I respect the emotion. Maybe not like how he went about expressing it and executing, but I respect the emotion behind that. Like, well, why am I performing? For what? For y'all ratings? Yeah.
I mean, yeah. And I mean, he's not a type of artist that needs exposure at this point. So performing for him would just be like a fruit of labor that he doesn't need. Exactly. So the other thing that came out behind these Grammy nominations was that Wiz Khalifa felt like it was a good idea to say that the fact that Cardi B gets nominated and Nicki Minaj doesn't means that nobody knows shit about music.
I mean, yeah, I have no comment on that except that's a strong statement. How's his business going? You been following that?
Nah, I haven't. But Cardi clapped back on him. She was not happy about that.
Yeah, people need to stop coming for Cardi B. Like, first of all, she's not having it. Secondly, like, I feel like just people go out of their way to hate on her. Why? Yeah. And third, that's wrong.
It is wrong. And her whole point was like, look, why are you pitting us against each other? Like, that's so 2017. Like,
exactly.
There's no war between like Nicki Minaj and I anymore. So just stop it. Like,
and frankly, if there was, the war is over. Cardi B won. Now, not that like Nicki Minaj has been destroyed or nothing. She gonna have her money. She made excellent records, but I mean, no. There's no competition between the two of them. Nicki Minaj retired. Like, you know.
Yeah.
Allegedly.
Allegedly. Yeah, no, she did.
Here's the point. Cardi B says she's retiring. We'd be like, why? When Nicki Minaj retired, we were like, yeah, maybe you need to step off.
Yeah, you should probably go handle that.
Handle that.
And speaking of folks that haven't been nominated for Grammys for a while, Drake. So, as you know, our former president, Barack Obama, has released a book recently, and he's been on his little book tour. God, and so he was all over the place. Yeah. I still got to watch that hour special with him and Oprah on Apple TV. So I'll get into that.
You can let me know how that is. And I love 44, but honestly, he's been kind of looking like a used car salesman with this book, man. He's been all over the place. But anyway, keep going.
So he said jokingly and on a Friday night on Jimmy Fallon on the Tonight Show that he would give Drake advice as to how to play him in a biopic. Mm-hmm. So he is fully endorsing Drake playing him in a biopic.
I mean, you and I talked about this before the show. He's serious about this?
I think he is.
No.
You don't want Aubrey Graham to play the POTUS?
I can't think of anything I've seen Drake act in.
Degrassi.
I mean, does Barack Obama think because they're halfway light skinned that's it?
Look, they're both biracial.
Okay. I mean, I'm glad. See, he's not president anymore, but I'm questioning decision making. If that's the case, like, man, when did you get to be a lunchbox? Well, I'm sorry, that's a horrible idea, Mr. President.
Why can't Aubrey Graham play Barack Obama?
I need to see some actor chops before I give him an important part like that.
You gotta watch like 10 seasons of Degrassi.
I mean, I guess Barack Obama is the authority on who should play Barack Obama, so I can't like argue with him on it. But I would give my opinion. Like, I disagree with that. Why don't you find some other actors out here? There's plenty of other actors.
No, I thought it was funny, but I definitely
it is very funny.
I do not endorse that. Sorry, B-Rack.
I'm probably gonna mispronounce the man's name, but the light-skinned brother, he's played in a couple movies with Denzel. African, he has an African name, EJ4, whatever. I forget his name, but he jumps out at the page as someone who has kind of the same complexion and could the acting chops.
You talking about dude that was on Doctor Strange?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. I'm not going to
exactly what I'm talking about.
I'm not saying his name ever.
Yeah,
because I will say it wrong.
Yeah, I'll say it wrong. Yeah, and if I'm trying to give him a segment in which I big him up, butchering his name is not cool. So, yeah, no, I'm cool on that. But look, Mr. President, sorry. I like you. I can't agree with everything you do and say. And like I said, I'm not hating on him. I know he has to sell the book, but man, he's been like kind of all over the place. So,
yeah.
Sell the book and let's keep it moving.
All right, so Warner Brothers made another announcement in conjunction with the one that we talked about last week.
Yes. So they trickled it out with what we talked about last week with Wonder Woman. And then they just, I guess, again, met and said, you know what, we're going to do the whole thing. Warner Brothers said every single movie they have in the can, they're going to release on HBO Max, and they're going to do what we talked about last week, which I kind of talked around it, but release it for a month, period. Then let it go through the normal movie pipeline. Netflix on demand. Then re-release it on HBO Max. This is a big move. This is them saying, vaccine or no vaccine, we have no confidence that theaters will get back to normal anytime soon. They're already closing all over the place, and we're not going to hold our movies. And we like our HBO Max platform. We want to try to get more people in. To your point that you said last week, and I think it was very important to point it out, we're not going to charge extra. If you have HBO Max, you're going to enjoy these movies. If you don't, go ahead and get HBO Max. And that's it.
Yeah.
And again, I said this last week, but the way I said it, I was enjoying myself last week. The way I said it, I want to be clear. HBO Max is not worldwide. Like, you can't log into it in certain countries, including, see, for me to say, oh, well, every country doesn't have it. Of course not. No, but big markets don't have it yet.
Yeah, that's why they're
European countries, right?
Right, and that's why they're doing the release on December 16th.
Exactly.
So that the international viewers can see it in movie theaters.
Yeah. So they're still trying to push it in movie theaters in, I don't know, European countries that act like they got some sense and could get back to enjoying decent things. Even with the surge back in Europe, they still, like I saw the other day, they're having people at soccer stadiums and they justifying it like, look, we all right over here. Like, yeah, it's a surge again, but I mean, yeah, it's a disease. It's going to surge, but we have it under control because we acted like we got some sense. Same with movies. So, yeah. So it's gonna go back.
So you have an update on The Mandalorian?
Yes, I do. Now, The Mandalorian season 2 is almost over. It's only 8 episodes a season. I actually didn't remember that. So we're basically almost done. Rosario Dawson made her debut. And we've talked about her and talked about Cory Booker. Excuse me. She made her debut as a very popular Star Wars character named Ahsoka Tano. Ahsoka Tano was put out through the Clone Wars cartoon. She basically, Anakin Skywalker had an apprentice, and that was her. So now she's grown up and she's a woman in like a grown whatever her species is in Mandalorian. And Rosario Dawson portrayed her very well. What was significant is that in this episode, so everybody was waiting on that anyway. Baby Yoda has a name, Sam. And Rosario Dawson was the one who said his name out loud because she was able to Jedi mind into his mind and tell the Mandalorian and the whole world what his name is. His name is Grogu.
Grogu.
Grogu. And Rosario Dawson was the one that said it. She was like, yeah, so Grogu, blah, blah, blah. He was like, what? And she was like, that's his name. Yeah. So they broke that out on the show. But
rude.
What's rude?
That she did that. Like, maybe he didn't want anybody to know his name was Grogu.
How would he not? He's a baby.
I
mean, she formed a connection with him.
Man, I ain't liked her since freaking He Got Game.
Right. Well, she was very good. And it was honestly, The Mandalorian has, the second season is as good, if not better than the first. One thing I didn't tell you, I know you don't watch the show, but Giancarlo Esposito.
That man, he can get a job.
He's like the main villain of the show.
He is in every show.
And he is cooking.
Breaking Bad.
Yeah.
Don't step on his Jordans.
Yeah, so the I know, right? Big Brother Almighty. Yeah, I love that dude, man.
Keisha Campbell licked his hair apart.
Yeah, but
it's gross.
Hey, Gamma Phi Gamma. That's based on my fraternity, by the way.
G5G. Of course, it was based on
Alphas.
Yeah.
I found this day. Opal will tell you too. I found this day was this week, by the way. But
excellent. I will never forgive Rosario Dawson for what she did to Jesus Shuttlesworth in that movie.
But she's been very good, and The Mandalorian's been very good. It's wrapping up, so what it's doing, it is opening up. Honestly, they basically put all their Star Wars chips into this show, and then it's opening up other stuff for future endeavors down the road. Because as I've talked about in the past, Star Wars in general as a franchise is a mess. Yeah, so they got to clean it up.
Yeah, it went off the rails.
Yeah, they got to clean it up. And they're doing a good job. But she was good. She was good in it.
Great. Good for her. Now, speaking of a franchise that has cleaned up.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I implored you earlier today. I was texting you hardcore, like, please watch this episode.
Yeah. Now, I would have. I couldn't. I knew it was debuting this week. I just didn't catch it, Saturday and then Sunday, of course. We were watching games yesterday. We'll get to that. But listen, you were correct.
Look, Power Book 2
yeah,
came back from its mid-season break, and they came back strong. This episode was excellently written.
Yes, it was.
Halfway through, I was like, wow, they are really, really doing this. And then that's when I texted you and was like, dude, come on, I'm halfway through, but I need you to watch this. And it was probably some of the best writing that they've had over the course of the series, even the original one.
No question. When I started watching it, I did the same thing you did. I didn't even get to the end. Mm-hmm. And I was like, you were absolutely correct. This is some of the best, right? I'm going to just go ahead and say it because I was afraid of recency alert by just watching it. But I ran through my head. I haven't seen a better episode of Power from beginning to end where I was watching every scene and was like, that was well done. And then they went to the next scene, next scene, kept the plot moving, the dialogue, everything. Stuff was making sense. They kept me on my toes. I thought, that's what I like. Like, there was stuff I thought would happen. It didn't happen. But when it didn't happen, it wasn't because it didn't make sense. It was because it was well written. Mm-hmm. And I felt like they did a really good job. And honestly, I felt like they kind of understood that the finale was not well written, and they cleaned up some mistakes from it.
It was like they
did you get that sense?
Yeah, they did. They cleaned up the finale. I like how they brought back in 2-Bit and kind of they needed to do that with his character because he was just kind of stuck in a lurch, and he is for as many crimes as he had committed throughout the series, he was in jail for the one thing that he didn't do.
Right.
And I like that they brought that to a conclusion and they did it in a way that was really smart. And Davis, Method Man's character, is doing exactly what we thought he was doing. He's playing sax hardcore. He's playing.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah, we knew that. And I'm glad they got that out the way. The 2-Bit sequence was spectacular. Mm-hmm. They let that actor cook.
Yeah, he did.
And if I was him, I'd be really, really glad they wrote that in like that, because that whole thing, him understanding, what he needed to do and the lawyer aspect and all that, that was really good. That was really good. Look, I just do not, honestly, Sham, and we both kind of alluded to it, but I'm just saying it out loud. It's episodes like this that will bring my vitriol down on Power harder if they don't continue to live to this standard. I was telling my friends, if Power was written like this all the time, I would be telling y'all to watch it.
Yeah, for sure. And we both joked that next week is going to be trash because it was so good this week. Because the consistency and the writing of the episodes are just terrible. Yeah,
and what it reminded me of was, this was even better, in my opinion, than the premiere of the show in general. Like, but this reminded me of that in the sense of, okay, so let's get to it. So, look, what I like about book 2 in general is that they've taken the approach of, and Power tried to do this, but they've learned some lessons. We have different storylines that we can push, and it's all tied in the same thing. But what we're going to do is we're going to jump around in different storylines so that you don't get bogged down in just one. They did that in the premiere of last year's, where it's like, okay, yes, it's about Tariq, but there are other things going on here. And, it's one of those things where even today, yes, it's about Tariq, but screen time wise, how often did we see Tariq?
Not a lot, except for that excruciatingly long dialogue or scene between him and the roommate's girlfriend. I did not need that. I mean, honestly, she the type of person where I'm like, bitch, if you don't get the fuck out of my room, like that part to me wasn't realistic in the fact
you should have been able to kick her out.
Yeah, get your ass up out of here. Like
no, what do you mean you insisting on staying here? No, you're not. This is my room.
Right. That's probably the only flaw in the episode where I was just like, okay, this bitch need to go. Yeah. Like right now.
But you know what? They even try to give her some depth in this show. And they did a good job. She convinced me, like, you know, when she was talking to sex, like she likes to. Now, okay, so let's jump around. So favorite parts of the episode, least favorite part. Sam, I do have one. It's not a complaint because they did it on purpose, but what the hell was that teacher wearing in the?
I mean, she's a beautiful woman.
She is a beautiful woman.
They just wanted to show off her assets. They just wanted to make her attractive. Like, look, I'm just glad she didn't have a gratuitous sex scene with that other teacher.
I am too.
I don't care what she was wearing, as long as that didn't happen.
And we didn't even see him actually. So
I'm glad because but that's a story that needs to be wrapped up.
And then I could wrap it up. Matter of fact, you know what? We just talked into existence. They're going to spend an inordinate amount of time because we didn't see him in this next week.
Next week.
Listen, I am not one, and you know this, to try to get on like women for what they wear, working this and that. But my point is, man, you're a professor at like a college, a freshman like classroom. What is this leather, like, whatever contraption dress? I don't even know if it was dressed like a pants thing. Was it?
Man, don't Maria King her. I mean, Maria Taylor her. Don't Maria Taylor her.
No, Sham. I'm not trying to be prude, and you certainly won't hear me say what that guy said about Maria Taylor. But maybe it's because I know what she's capable of and what, like, her past, that I'm like, you know what? But yeah, if it was Maria Taylor who's proven herself to be professional, she could do that. You, ma'am, are not professional. You slept with a student on camera that we've seen.
They both have, which is
go back home and change.
Terrible.
Why was that white girl so like animated in that class? By the way, like it was just an opinion. Like just give your opinion and calm down.
Yeah, she was.
When they were having the discussion.
She was,
like, why do you care so much?
She was a great example of like white privilege and how in her world everybody's good.
Yeah, I know the other one, the girl is supposed to be comic relief, but she gets on my nerves.
Light Skin Keisha,
whatever her name is.
Yeah, yes. Light Skin Keisha. Yeah.
Whatever her name is.
She's just too much.
She's too much. She's too much. That was. But yeah, favorite parts. I love, like I said, the 2-bit stuff was good. The narrative, the trial is good. The plot, what they're trying to do with Tariq, I thought that was very well written and explained how they're trying to do that. The Mary J stuff and
you love her. You love her on this show.
Sham, they doubled down on everything that I said about Mary J. I didn't even realize how attracted I was to Mary J.
Yeah, Power makes a really sexy.
Awesome.
Yeah, like that whole female family boss thing makes her really sexy.
Yeah.
You know, I texted you and I said no spoilers, but like, you know how I feel about thirst buckets. Like,
yeah, the daughter,
both her children are thirst buckets. Like, what are you doing? Like,
just ironically, I wasn't even thinking about that until I saw it. I was like, maybe he is who she was talking about.
That's what triggered me, was the fact that this dude has straight Heisman'd you for like however many times in the past. And then he's blowing up your phone for a span of like however many minutes. He looked like he had like 8 texts or missed calls. And then your sister is telling you, yo, like, please don't leave because mom is about to like get up in your ass if you leave me here. And he's like, no, I just gotta go. Like, you that thirsty?
Yeah.
For some Stansberry D?
Now, I'm glad you brought that up though. I'm glad that, so we both said at the time that, you know, Drew was tripping for like running up on him at that party like that.
Yeah.
Like, the dude is closeted. And I love what they did. They basically like laid it out and had him explain, like, look, man, like, I'm trying to get in the NBA. You're living in a dream world where I can come out as gay and like it be cool. Like, that's not cool. Nice. And I still want to be and yeah, I he was like, yeah, I still want to be with you and this and that. But like, no, I'm not gonna come out. Like, I'm not doing that. And I like that. And
to be honest, gay or straight, I mean, I don't know you like that. I mean, we had like an encounter, and now you're just gonna roll up on me like you my mans or something in public at a party. Like, we just kicked it like one time.
Right. Exactly. Now let's talk about Kane.
Yo, he is out of control.
And again, this episode took me through twists and turns because I thought he was going to kill the brother. There was just a whole bunch of stuff.
I kind of wanted him to, because that dude is
the brother is
annoying.
He's whack. That's going to be a problem too. He's going to want to snatch.
Privilege.
Listen, the roommate. What you said last year bore out. Like, it was a mistake to tell him to that extent, because he immediately gave up the information to Kane when he did not have to, and he made that situation worse. But man, he redeemed himself that night,
didn't he?
Man, he is the man. I was like, yo, okay.
Yeah. First, I thought they were going to rob him. And I was like, nah, they about to rob him and run off. But because he showed them what was in the bag. Right. But then they was just cool with it and they were down. So I was like, all right.
I like how he's handling his brother. Like, every time his brother see, like, yo, shut up. Like, I'm handling this. And when he would talk to Kane, like, look, man, he can't handle this. Like, I'll go out and do this. And, you can tell he's good at it. But, it was a mistake to tell him that much information, because you can't, Kane comes in there, you throwing his name out, you're doing all this. You could have easily gotten yourself killed. But yeah, just a lot of twists and turns with that. And then I love how it was handled at the end with the father, with Lorenzo.
The father did a 180, like awesome. I love you, son, gave him the hug, and then was like, don't you ever put your hands on my wife again. I was like, whoa, awesome. You willing to take out your own son?
Yeah. Yeah, I already told you, like, you were out of pocket, but like, don't think I don't know exactly what you did. Yeah. And now, my favorite part was how Mary J handled the information about whatever it's called, college.
College Connect or whatever.
College Connect. I want to call it College Club.
Course Connect or whatever.
Course Connect. That's what it's called. Yeah, she was like, okay, yeah. So, first of all, I understand it. So, Tariq could try me for acting like I don't understand
both of them tried her. Like, it was like acting like she was dumb. Like,
right. And then it was like, and I love how she went to the daughter, like, why you want me to, like, you're mad because he curbed you, and because basically. So you want me to get mad at him and screw up our business
because
I like the idea.
Yeah, nah. Right. Thirst bucket number 2.
I like the idea. Yeah. So that's all my little thoughts. But it was very well written. Me too.
Yeah, and the way she was acting outside the dorm room, like, who you got in there? Oh, I thought she was different. I owe you nothing. I never tried nothing with you. Like, why are you sitting here acting like I owe you anything?
First of all, you try to barge into my place when I told you we could talk out here. You get mad and you act like we were talking. No, we weren't.
No, and he had to curb her again.
Business.
He had to recurb the curb.
And he's been polite with it. Really be like, yo, why are you tripping? Like, stop. But he knows, he's smart enough to know this. Like, how about the real girl he likes?
Oh, Lauren.
And then her little, and then old boy coming in like Jabbar. He keep calling him Jabbar.
I'm telling you, man, this dude is disrespectful.
He's disrespectful. Yeah.
Like at this point, call me Jamal again and see what happens.
I like how Tariq handled that though. Like, clearing his little throat. Like, hey man, I'm here.
Right.
I heard this whole thing, and y'all on the rocks. Don't worry. Don't stop out here playing with me and talk about you here a lot. Yo, you got attitude or what? Like, whatever, man.
Right.
Whatever, dude. And you know what? I'm starting to realize the less Tasha I see, the better. So, like, they gave me just enough Tasha to keep the case going. and it's fine. And honestly, she didn't do anything stupid. I understand why she feels the way she feels because it's like I'm trying to protect Tariq.
Yeah, but keeping her in the dark.
I don't need to see talk.
Keeping her in the dark is the best move they can make. Can't
Absolutely.
tell her nothing because
she can't be trusted with information.
She's gonna ruin everything.
Lastly, the detective for me. The detective
Blanca.
I feel like her voice gets worse and worse.
Yeah, I hate her voice. And you know what? I think she talks like that in real life. I keep wanting to believe that
she does. I told you that.
I want to believe that it's just for the show.
That's her.
But that's really voice. How she speaks. That is horrible.
Socks, you know, I can't even do it. But the point being, he got me suspended.
Shut up.
We're gonna get Sacks back. It's like, why don't you relax?
I don't work for the police department anymore.
It is.
Like, get the fuck. Anyway, so that was a good episode. Hopefully next week we'll get to the part where the plagiarism comes in. I actually want them to uncover that part.
The plagiarism. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But that's probably going to be a slow wind.
Yeah. Yeah. They keep throwing Tommy's name out, man. I need him to show up.
I need a cameo. Yeah. Need a Tommy Egan cameo.
Kill Kane. Yeah. Anyway. Hey, man, you're out of control, man. But, yeah, no, it's good.
So you ready to get into some sports?
Always. Listen, here's some entertaining sports for us to wrap up, man. It's been a great 2 weeks.
So, interesting story popped up about Len Bias. He's finally getting put into the College Basketball Hall of Fame.
Yeah, I mean, you know, at minimum, it's worth a mention. Len Bias, you know, local for us, tragically, you know, excellent player for University of Maryland.
He was the best player they had in recent memory to me.
Absolutely. And, you know, tragically died of an overdose essentially right after being drafted, right?
It was on draft night.
Tonight?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He was supposed to go to Boston the next day.
Yeah. And, you know, I think it's taken this long because of the circumstances surrounding his death. Because if you just went by the numbers, he should have been in way before now.
Oh, absolutely.
Point blank.
Without question.
And, you know, people need to get over it. There was a time, you know, because he came out the same year as Mike. People were comparing him.
Actually, his draft was 86.
Oh, really? Okay. Yeah. Mike was a little bit older. Okay.
It was 84.
Yeah. All right. Well, I know that's been a comparison that's been made.
Oh, yeah. They said Michael Jordan wouldn't have been who he was if Len Bias was in the league.
Right.
That's how they talked about how great he was.
Right. So, no, I'm glad that's been rectified. I mean, just point blank, get them in, and let's all move on and be adults. Sam, you sent me a story about the women's basketball team in South Carolina.
Yeah, so they were the national champions last year, and I believe they won like a 29-game win streak, and they lost to NC State. Yeah,
big loss. You know, South Carolina, we talked about women's basketball, and we talked about UConn and then also UT and Pat Summitt and all that. I feel like South Carolina was one of the only teams that could look those two programs in the eye in their heyday and actually give them a problem.
Mm-hmm.
So they have a vaulted program too, which, again, as you just pointed out, is highlighted by that winning streak. So that's a big deal. That's a big deal.
And Dawn Staley has been their coach for a few years now. She's synonymous with excellence. I remember when I was a young basketball player, I looked up to Dawn Staley. There were two athletes that I wanted to patent my careers after. It was Dawn Staley, Marion Jones, and actually a third one would be Gail Devers, because I was a hurdler and I was a very good hurdler in high school.
Gotcha.
But definitely Dawn Staley, because of her feistiness, her hustle, her defense, and her court vision was sick. I didn't have great handles like her, but I definitely looked at her as somebody whose game I wanted to model.
Nice. And she's worked out extremely well as a coach.
Absolutely.
Gail, Marion Jones, that's the name I haven't heard in a while.
So I don't know if you remember this, but Marion Jones was a double threat. She was a national championship point guard at North Carolina in 1995. And she was a track and field athlete, which she became later known for, obviously. But she was sick on the basketball court too. So I remember the first time I saw her live, I went to Penn Relays. It was 1995, my sophomore year. And the girls' day at Penn Relays was on a Thursday. And so that's when you would see like all the college athletes. She was running the 4x2. And I like jumped out of my seat. I was like, oh my God, it's Marion Jones. She had gone to North Carolina. And when she came around that track, you would have thought I saw like Michael Jackson or something. That's how like excited I was.
It's interesting you bring him up because Michael Jackson was part of your celebrity trinity. You now named maybe a sports trinity, and all of those are fine except Marion Jones. She's been a little tarnished.
Yeah.
But really, I was more so like wondering what she's been up to these last few years. But you made a comment when we were talking about Monique. That's what maybe came to my mind. You were talking about like a lot of these prominent female figures. We were talking about entertainment, but we can apply this here. And their husbands and how like they get with these guys and they just get them down the wrong path. Marion Jones.
Her first husband. The shot putter.
She needed to divorce that dude. Yeah. Because he the second she got with him, stuff just started going haywire.
He got her into that Balco nonsense.
Exactly.
And Tim Montgomery. She was with him, who was also part of that. And now she's married to and happy with Obadali Thompson, who third time's a charm. Let's just say that.
The good guy is number 3.
Right.
Yeah. Because I remember like even when she did her little press conference apology, I was like, yo, get that. This apology means nothing until you get away from him.
Yeah, man. He was a hot mess.
Yeah. But interesting. Yeah, very.
So college basketball.
Big stuff. So listen. Yeah, there we go.
College basketball, man. So
you promised us a breakdown. How you feeling?
I'm feeling okay about it. Not about my particular rooting interests, but
tough.
But look,
it's a weird season. It's COVID.
It's a weird season, but look, the big players are still playing. They're in the game. Preseason, Gonzaga was ranked number 1. Probably the most famous mid-major in the history of mid-majors.
Yes.
Now we're in week 3. I think the newest rankings come out on Tuesdays. Maybe it came out today. I don't know, but they're still number 1, undefeated, 3-0. So look, Gonzaga, they're always great, right? Regular season, great. But until Gonzaga actually gets to a Final Four, actually gets to a championship game, or even wins one, I mean, I'm sure they've been in the Final Four, but even like gets to that point, I'm going to take them seriously. Like, I don't care how great you are in the college basketball regular season every year. You got to win it. Yeah. For me to even like put stock in you like that. And I feel like with Gonzaga, I'm like, okay, they're going to be ranked high, but what are they going to do at the end of the year? Are they going to be the ones holding the trophy? Not what I think, but whatever. Baylor is ranked number 2 right now, also 3-0. Jared Butler Jr. Jared Butler is a guard. He's a junior this year, and he's in a conversation for Player of the Year. So he's been balling. Look, Jay Wright and Villanova, they're in the conversation as well. 4-1, they're ranked number 3. Yep. And Virginia is always in the mix as well. What I've noticed
last couple champions, right? Virginia, Villanova, last couple years champs.
Well, I thought it was Virginia and North Carolina, but I could be. The biggest disappointment though this year has been Kentucky, and I think they were overranked. So they they got ranked number 10 during the preseason.
Better not be ranked anymore.
No, they're done. They're not in the rankings. They are 1-3. So last week they did the Champions Classic where Duke played Michigan State and Kansas played Kentucky. Kansas, it was a good game in the beginning. Look, Kansas nice and won that game, and Michigan State totally just. We were down to Michigan State by like 20 at a certain point. We tried to make it a game at the end, but we didn't. So Duke is 2-1 right now and ranked number 10, which I say this every year. Duke is always ranked higher than they should be, in my opinion, because they're never as good as they seem on paper. So that's that.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, no, I agree. What about, so you're about to go into Duke, or you move?
Yeah, I'm not going into Duke. There's nothing to say about Duke.
Well, why is there nothing to say?
Because no one knows anybody on that team. Like, there's no. You know what you need to say about Duke? That
What's
Coach
that?
K is still the coach. But I will say this, and I texted this to you last week. So I'm watching the game, right? And I was just like, man, this is terrible to watch. Like, the great thing about watching a Duke game is watching them play at Cameron. And the Cameron crazies make it a game.
Right.
The acoustics in that gym, and I call it a gym because it looks like a high school gym.
No, it does. Yeah. On TV.
The acoustics in that place are great if you are on the floor level and say you want to sing an opera. However, ESPN did not get this right, because I couldn't hear Jay Billis and I couldn't hear the other guy that was calling the game with them. But what you could hear was players' voices, coaches' voices, whistles. You could hear all of that bouncing off the walls in that gym. But listening to the commentary was difficult. And it was just very dry and unexciting. Like, you needed that fan push and it just wasn't there. But the Kansas-Kentucky game was a little better. I mean, it did have a little bit more of the feels, but the balance of sound in Cameron Indoor Stadium just made it hard for me to watch.
Oh, there it is. So nothing to, I guess, look forward to in the sense of making a prediction for Duke yet. Just see how things play out. I just, have you been watching PTL this week?
It was only like, a couple episodes, right? So I think I maybe caught Monday.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, I mean, it's Monday, but I meant last week.
Yeah, they were saying a couple days.
Yeah, but they said today. So actually, I'm talking about today.
No, I didn't watch today's yet.
It doesn't feel like college basketball season, even though it has officially started. You can't feel it yet. Probably because of how weird it is. And I had alluded to this before. Those tournaments where they have like games on aircraft carriers and stuff like that, and they play out of conference game, they couldn't do that this year. And those are some of the bellwether moments that let you know, like, hey, the college basketball season is starting, because they are able to do those fun things, and we haven't had those. So it's a little bit weird for people who are a little bit more casual, like me, to get into college ball. Okay. Yeah.
That makes sense. It makes sense. Yeah, it was hard for me, and I love college
and
basketball.
You're in it, right? So, but I knew Kentucky was losing. I was like, yo, what's wrong with them?
I really wanted to run through the top 25, but we're not going to have a lot of time for that. But I'm going to leave folks with this note. There's some teams that you need to look out for: Richmond, Arizona State, San Diego State, and Creighton. Those aren't names that you normally would see on a national level, but they're balling.
I mean, that's the fun thing, when you could throw those names out there. So when they start balling, you can say, you got it. I mean, you had those. Yeah, no, I'm with that. I'm with the call. So what else we got?
James Harden, the beard. The beard is a beard.
Listen, NBA in general. So last time we taped, we were on the verge of the trade. It had been rumored that Russ and John Wall will be traded between Washington and Houston. Now, look, James Harden. So today was basically the first day of NBA camp, preseason, whatever. The season's going to start on the 22nd. So they have 2 weeks to get ready. James Harden was a no-show today. And Paul Silas Jr.
Steven Silas.
Steven Silas. Wow. I every episode I managed to disrespect this man more and more. Before I didn't even know his name. Now I'm giving him the wrong name just because of who his father is.
I feel like you subconsciously hate him.
Or he should consciously hate me for the disrespect. But he came out and basically was like, James is holding out. James Harden is holding out. You know, he's not communicating where he is. He's not at practice today. Here's my question. I was under the impression James Harden and John Wall were cool. Now, if James Harden wants to go to Brooklyn, that's fine. I mean, he turned down the extension and all that, but you're not going to at least give the chance, if you're James Harden, for this to work with John Wall down in Houston? Like, if John Wall comes back, I think they could do something together. I mean, whatever.
I mean, they could do as much together as he could do with Russ. Look, James Harden don't want anybody else to have the ball but him, and neither does John Wall. I don't know how that's gonna work. Now,
I have a point of fact there. John Wall is cool with he distributing the ball. He wants the offense to go through him, which is a problem
because he's a point guard. No, it's not a problem. He's a point guard.
But my point is, go through him. Well, it is a problem to a fault, because there are times when he needs to understand, you know, what the best move for the sequence for that offensive sequence is.
I'll take this even further.
He's a distributor.
James Harden is going to have the same problem with John Wall that he had with Chris Paul.
In what way?
From a player perspective, he is. Like, you're describing what you just said. Describes Chris Paul.
Okay. Well, Chris Paul, yeah. I understand what you mean. But yeah, Chris Paul's smarter.
I mean, yeah, he's smarter, and Chris Paul is probably an asshole. Yeah. But, you know, I like him.
Yeah. I mean, look, John is not pleasant to get, you know, but I think so. Okay. I feel like they have some kind of relationship, like a friendly one. And I just feel like James Harden isn't even giving it a chance.
Yeah, but he was ready to be out of there before the trade happened.
Yes, he was.
So
true.
You know, to that, you know, I don't think it would have mattered who Russ got traded for at that point.
He has 2 years on his deal. You could at least be a professional, show up, and like, you still want to beef with the team, that's fine. You're not going to show up to practice. The first, like, you're making it sound like you're that outraged that they haven't traded you yet.
Look, I think we can agree that James Harden needs to stop playing. Like, for real. Now let's talk about the flip side of that trade.
Yeah, I'm so happy.
I know you are.
I'm happy you have Russ. Yeah, and I've been arguing with people and all that.
Well, what is it to argue about, though?
There's a lot of Wizards fans that don't like this.
Why? Russ is going to give you 120% every night.
They're not seeing it like that, and you know, some of the stuff we talked about last week. Oh, Russ is older, this and that.
What, by 2 years? Come on.
Yeah. Then they called themselves mad about because it was Russ and a pick. The pick is protected. So these people need to calm down. Even if it wasn't protected. So the protections, once I read that, I was like, oh man, we basically gave up for like John Wall and a ham sandwich. Like, you know what I'm saying? But even if it wasn't protected, it's not like the Wizards do anything with draft picks anyway. So
they squander draft picks every year.
Yeah, we're not smart. So whatever. We need to try something new.
A good pick. I don't know if they'll utilize them correctly.
Yeah, I like Rory. And yeah, exactly. And then it's one of those things that, look, what's the alternative? So let's say Russ doesn't work out. Bradley Beal had one eye out the door anyway.
Bradley Beal's been kind of like getting on my nerves about this whole thing. Like, right. He's been acting like a whole fool.
Right. And if it doesn't work out with Russ, fine, blow the team up like we would have done anyway.
I mean, you're used to it.
We're used to it and keep it moving. So, no, I'm very happy about this. And Russ gave a little video when he went to Cap One Arena, and he's ready to roll. If there wasn't a pandemic, I'd have been signed up for tickets and get down there. Love Russ. So let's go. And look, love Russ and know how I've talked about him on the podcast.
Yeah, we both love Russ.
We know his faults.
We're pro Russ here on the Stop Playing podcast. Russ.
Yeah. So
look, NFL.
All right. Sham. A lot of lot of big news in the NFL. Shall we start with the birds?
Let's start with the birds, and it's going to be short and sweet. Eagles trash.
We know this. Tell me about. Okay, I have a couple of specific Eagles questions for you.
Why do you do this? Why can't they just be trash and we can move on?
Because it is significant. Did you see the news about Peterson?
Actually, I did not. I've been watching holiday movies all day.
You have. So there's some smoke that Doug either himself will leave or might get let go. Which
is surprising to me.
Yes. Because that's why I wanted to take.
We've talked about Jeffrey Lurie and his loyalty to coaches, specifically Andy Reid. Right. Didn't have much loyalty to Chip Kelly, which is understood. Right. But Doug was there for a lot of Andy Reid's tenure. So I would think that the loyalty to him would be a little stronger.
Especially since he won the Super Bowl.
And he won the Super Bowl. But right. I mean, you let your Super Bowl winning quarterback go. So why wouldn't you let your Super Bowl winning coach go?
Well, he thought he had the quarterback who got you to the point where you could go to the Super Bowl. But man,
mean the MVP until he busted his knee, Carson Wentz.
I mean, what is wrong with Carson Wentz, man?
Wentz trash. I was calling him adjacent to trash, but he trash.
Yeah. Some of them throws I saw last week, I'm like, are you serious? So he got benched. See, again, y'all have significant stories.
Yeah, he got benched. But look, to me, it ain't even about the throws he makes. It's about the throws he doesn't make. He's been sacked more times this season than any other quarterback. Like, what are we standing there for, sir? You got to get rid of the ball. And what happened to the Carson Wentz that used to shuck and jive and make a play out of nothing? Like that dude, he back in 2017. I don't know.
Sam, I heard a number on the sacks that I talked about his turnovers last week that floored me. I heard Carson Wentz has been sacked like damn near 50 times.
That is for certain.
It's week 12.
We know.
50 times?
Mm-hmm. It'll be 75 by the time week 17 comes.
Now, look, I understand the line has been decimated with injury and all that, and I get it. I mean, that is, I was like, run that. I was watching TV and had to rewind the DVR.
But no.
Run that number back.
No. The line has been decimated, but it hasn't been decimated so badly that a dude should be out there getting sacked 50 times.
Yeah.
Like, he needs to employ the Eli Manning method or something. Yeah, just fucking drop to the ground or something. Like, don't even just take a knee. Like, why are you letting folks?
I like how you said, we've been saying it. Eli Manning, I dare you try to say Eli Manning going to get sacked 50 times.
Nah, he going to just fall.
Hell going to freeze over all the way over first before he let himself get hit.
Eli ain't letting himself get sacked. He's just going to lay down.
Y'all want to block for me? I'm throwing this ball straight down in the dirt.
You got the ball. Boom.
Yeah, forget it. I quit.
But yeah, Eagles trash.
All right. Eagles trash. Look, NFC's is taking over a little bit of a different complexion.
And look, speaking of the Giants, hello.
So we've now basically gone 2 weeks without taping. Washington football team destroyed the Cowboys on Thanksgiving.
Decimated the Cowboys on Thanksgiving.
So that's the last time we've seen the Cowboys. We're going to see them again tomorrow, apparently. But so the Cowboys are a mess. Now, you and I talked about Mike McCarthy, and empirically, I guess it was a good hire because yes, I mean it was, but even with him. He's made some horrible decisions.
He's not been very McCarthy-esque.
No, the fake punt, like Mike McCarthy, what are you out here doing? You're running a clown show. Like, I can't come over and defend that. So the Cowboys are a mess. The Giants are 5-2 since starting. I want to say 1-4, whatever.
Since they lost to us the first time.
Yes,
they're 5-2. they came out here and decided they want to win the division, which I ain't mad at. Somebody got to want it.
Yeah.
And you know what I was thinking about?
Seattle.
So when we did our NFL preview show,
mm-hmm.
I don't think we factored in that there's going to be 3 wild card teams in the playoffs this year.
Yes.
I think we just went by
we did not. We
went by the old format. So when I saw the breakdown today, I was like, oh, snap, that's right. So there are. So, yeah. I just wanted to, just put that out there.
Yeah. So that being said, 2 teams are not coming out of the NFC East, though.
No, that has nothing to do with them. I was just bringing that up because I remembered it.
Yeah. But the Giants are making their play. So the Giants have 2 wins over the Washington football team, which may come back to bite the Washington football team. However,
it will. But they're both 5-7 now, right?
They're both 5-7.
The Washington football team just beat the undefeated Steelers tonight.
They just beat Pittsburgh, which, I mean, Pittsburgh had been playing with fire for weeks.
Oh, for 5 weeks straight.
Including the Baltimore game last week where RG3 came out and just, he was getting sacked, not all over the place, but taking bad hits and making turnovers. So he had to get pulled out of that game for whoever that backup was.
I didn't watch that game. I didn't realize that RG3 got pulled.
RG3 started that game.
No, I knew he started because Lamar Jackson was on the COVID list. But
COVID, correct.
I did not know that RG3 got pulled from that game.
Yes, he did. And the second he got pulled, Baltimore almost came back.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course they did.
Yeah, like some untested, first or second year guy, I forget his name. Went in and immediately threw a touchdown.
Well, they didn't have tape on him, so
right. But
and I feel like that's the same thing that happened with Jalen Hurts. It wasn't like no tape, so he came right in and threw a touchdown pass.
Okay, that's fine. But Pittsburgh. If you saw that game, it's like I'm not gonna pin it all to RG3. I'm not doing that. And you're right. Tape is important, but
he's trash. Yeah.
the team rallied around the backup.
Yeah, I don't think they like him. They don't like RG3. Nobody likes him.
So that happened. So look, that's State of Seeds. So the Giants are feeling real good. They're feeling like they're gonna win the division, like you said.
Our friends are out there posting again.
Oh, absolutely. They've come out from under.
They're on cloud 9, 5-7 on cloud 9.
Yeah. Washington football team actually feels like they're gonna do something, which they should. I mean, beating Pittsburgh is significant.
That is great, but like you said, they've been teetering on the edge for the last however many games.
Yes. So that's that. All right, moving through divisions. Significant. Let's go to the South. Okay.
Taysom Hill.
Yeah, well, yeah. All right, let's start with New Orleans. They play well. Taysom Hill played well.
Yeah, Crablaze ain't gonna have a job.
No, he's not getting that job. So New Orleans should be fine. Taysom Hill is gonna at least try to, steady the ship on the way back. So we'll see what happens there. Carolina, it's been a few weeks. They've careened, at least wins and losses wise, out of control. So they're having a bad season. It is what it is. Tampa, always interesting. We're talking about Tom Brady. Sham, I'm going to just say it like this. This is not about Tom Brady. To your point and everybody else's point, Tom Brady has handled himself like a professional in terms of Bruce Arians' criticism of him. But the caping for Tom Brady by the media has to stop. People are blaming Bruce Arians for Tom Brady's performance. It's not okay. Bruce Arians, they're saying, oh, he's not calling the right plays. No, Tom Brady's always screwing up. Period. Like, he's old. I mean, it just is what it is.
It's a couple things, though. Like, age, yes. But, I mean, his athletic ability isn't showing signs of age. I think it's not just that with Tom Brady. I think, playing in New England for how many years? Like 20 years? And then you hear for in Tampa Bay for what? 12 games?
Right.
It's just not going to translate. It's just not. Like, if this was next season and he's making those stupid plays that he's doing, I would be like, all right, Tom, you fucking up.
Yeah.
But like, this is the first season under his offense. Like, everything is not going to be like beautiful and shiny like it was in New England. Like, I'm just not of that ilk of people who believe that he's supposed to just come right in here and be what he was last year in New England. I'm just not.
And in a lot of ways, look, he's made his impact felt. Tampa is not, they haven't been this good for a while, period.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, you know, and one thing, you asked a question about why people, the comparison between how Tom Brady is playing and what was happening with Peyton Manning. One important thing I forgot to say when you said that. When Peyton Manning started playing bad, that was his third year. So this goes directly to the point you just made. That was his third or fourth year at Denver. When he first got to Denver,
he's balling.
He was balling, and he got them to a Super Bowl. They lost that one, then they won the next one. So the point being, he was playing at MVP type level, and then he fell off at the end. So it's not like he walked in the building and was washed up. Tom Brady is nowhere near washed up, but the point is that's I think the difference where he's at a different team and immediately. But see, if you've been paying attention to Tom Brady, you would see he was falling off in New England.
Yeah, he was.
So it's fine. Yeah,
it was.
It's fine.
I mean, I think to expect him to be what he was when he was like 30 is not a realistic expectation.
Right. So that's that. Look, the Saints beat the Falcons. The Falcons,
trash.
They are trash, but they were fresh off giving my boys a complete and utter ass whooping last week.
Which I found like really fantastical. I was like, what?
My team is completely immature. And
they didn't have Tom Gurley when they played y'all.
No, they did not.
They did not have Tom Gurley.
And matter of fact, didn't have Julio Jones, Shan.
No, didn't have either one.
Didn't have either one. And ran up all kinds of points. My boys are completely immature, which was doubled down by our performance against the New York Jets, which we'll get to momentarily. Just to finish the division. That's the Carolina, we already talked about that.
That's it.
But Raheem Morris will probably get that job. That's what I was going to say.
Well, hey, I'm all for brothers come up.
Yeah, brothers coming up. You just to finish out the NFC real quick, and then we'll get to AFC. The North, Packers balling, Bears. Matt Nagy about to get fired.
Hey, we'll take them back.
Point blank.
Yeah, they've lost 6 straight. It's you know, and the decision making at the end of the game is ridiculous. Like the Bears should not have lost yesterday. Yeah.
Christmas came early for one of the other teams, Detroit. Fired Matt Patricia after Thanksgiving. Thank you.
Then
immediately been winning and been winning ever since. Listen, Sham, Detroit or Thanksgiving, both of my dreams came true before Thanksgiving. If they hadn't, Thanksgiving would have been the worst game because it would have been Houston versus Detroit. It would have been Bill O'Brien versus Matt Patricia, and I wouldn't have watched that game. But Bill O'Brien was fired weeks ago. Romeo Crennel been down there balling a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to get that job.
But that last play that Deshaun Watson had yesterday, man.
Yeah, yesterday, yes.
I felt bad for him.
Yes, I felt bad for him too. But now Detroit has fired Matt Patricia, so they're good to go in terms of maybe going into next season. But they beat the Bears. Matt Nagy, you're out of there.
Matt Patricia might want to go back to New England because that's what all the coordinators do when they fail in life.
They have to do that. Yeah, he needs to go back. And then finally, the Vikings. Kirk Cousins. Listen.
The Vikings are actually putting up a little fight. They're actually the third wild card spot right now, which...
Yeah, they win the overtime with Jacksonville, which is not okay.
Yeah, that's not okay.
But they won.
Nobody should be in overtime with Jacksonville.
Exactly. But they won. They won the game. So it is what it is.
You play to win the game.
Now, when you say they're in the third wild card spot, you mean they're in the hunt or they actually have a spot?
Well, the chart that I saw earlier today had them in the third spot, but I could be wrong.
That's interesting. Okay. I mean, no, it could. Judging by the NFCs and some of the other teams in the conference, they could be. All right, and then the West, we have the Rams balling. They beat the Cardinals 38-28, so that's a big game.
They are hitting their stride at the right time.
Exactly.
And they are back on top of that division.
And Cardinals are stumbling a little bit.
Yeah, they're 6-6. And they were looking like they were about to like definitely be a playoff team. Like,
yes, they were. Yes, they were. Seattle, terrible loss against the Giants. There's no other way to put it. And Seattle has been screwing up.
And I want to shout out Dre and Angie because, Dre is a Giants fan. Yeah. Angie's a Seahawks fan. And I just knew after I saw the score that Dre was going to do something like silly.
He did something ignorant, didn't he? What'd he do?
He posted a picture of him just laying, chilling, napping in a Giants blanket.
I saw that. Yeah, Dre, calm down. Yeah, listen, see, this is the problem. Now the Giants are starting to win games. We're going to see him and everybody else like popping up. They're not good. It's just, I don't know. I mean, look, Joe Judge actually, I think, has the people behind it. The one thing I want to say about the Giants, they got to fight him and Mark Colombo, the offensive line coach, got in a fight. They're denying it was a physical fight, but I think it was a couple weeks ago. And they've been playing well ever since then. He fired Colombo and brought in somebody else. Joe Judge did, and now they've been winning. So coaches fighting is rare in terms of it making news.
Mm-hmm. All right. And San Francisco just lost to the Bills tonight.
They got thumped out there.
Thumped.
Yeah. San Francisco needs to calm down. Yeah. Miami came out there and thumped them a couple of weeks ago. I don't understand what the problem is. Sometimes.
Well, half their defense is either on COVID break or hurt.
Yeah, you're right. And then starting under center was Nick Mullen. So Jimmy G, I mean, I think
Jimmy G's injured. Now. Yeah, he's injured.
Yeah. They had benched him, but now he's actually hurt. So
as long as they don't hurt that AFC. Face.
Oh my God. AFC. Listen, let's start with the East. Miami. Miami's coming along. They lost. I thought they lost to.
They lost Denver. Last week. They won yesterday.
Yeah, they won yesterday. They play Kansas City next week, so they'll probably lose that.
Kansas City barely beat the Broncos. What you talking about?
Yeah, but they beat them anyway. Yeah, they barely beat us too, but they beat us.
True, but y'all should have,
Yeah, I mean, barely beating people is whatever. Miami beat Cincinnati, by the way, who without Joe Burrow just looked lost.
They've been lost, so even with him, they were lost.
With him, they were lost, but they had hope because he was playing well. So,
but the rest of the team wasn't.
Yeah, I know, right? New England just
smashed,
obliterated the Chargers, Los Angeles, whatever you want to call them.
When I saw 45-0, I was like, damn, I like Anthony Lynn, but he might not have a job.
He's probably going to get fired. One side note about the Chargers, you see Sham earlier this week. I know you've been kind of busy. Tyrod is not going to file a grievance against the team.
Why? They stabbed your ass in the lung. Come on now.
He is accepting that it was an accident, and he's good with it.
He just I'm just gonna hold my clipboard like a good little soldier.
He's too nice.
Man, fuck that.
That came out this week, so he's too nice. But yeah, Anthony Lynn, you can't have too many games like that. You probably get fired.
Yeah, he's done son.
Yeah. So and then the Jets. So Sham, the Jets played my Raiders. So we can go ahead and wrap this up right now. I've kirked out on the show about the Raiders
several times,
and I've been mad with them
several times.
I do not recall the last time I was that upset after a win.
You sure?
As I was. You know what? I was close 2 weeks ago when we beat the Chargers, and I felt like we played like trash. We should have lost that game. Mm-hmm. What ended up happening? We were down by 4 with 10 seconds left. Greg Williams decided to call a zero cover blitz with no safety help, and Derek Carr just lobbed it up to Henry Ruggs. listen,
it's y'all's fault that Greg Williams don't have a job.
Absolutely. Well, and you know what? It's Greg Williams' fault that Paul Gunther still has a job. Because if Greg Williams had done what he was supposed to do and won that game, Paul Gunther should have been fired today.
Look, I've said this.
So he was on the other side of that coin.
I'll say it again. I don't know how Greg Williams is employable.
Me neither. And I don't understand it. Actually, you know what? I posted about his firing today, and a Cowboys fan came on and was like, "We need him down in Dallas." I'm like,
what?
You sound stupid. Yeah. So that happened. So the Jets, listen.
Yeah, y'all need him as much as y'all needed Rob Ryan. No thanks.
Exactly. The Jets will not win any games. That was the absolute closest they came to winning a game this season, and that was because we wanted to give them that game.
Shout out to Darren Waller for making me look supreme in fantasy.
Darren Waller had the best game out of any receiver, period, yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
He had 200 yards.
Yeah.
It was absurd what he was doing.
Like 13 of 17?
Absolutely.
200 yards, 2 touchdowns?
Yes. Yeah. He was unstoppable.
45 fantasy points. Thank you.
Yep. So kudos to him. But yeah, so that's the Jets. AFC South, Tennessee got destroyed by the Cleveland.
And Derrick Henry could not get anything going against them. I don't understand that.
Fumble. Yeah, he had a horrible game.
Stuffed him.
Yeah. Yeah. They stuffed him, and it was very uncharacteristic. Tennessee, defensively especially, is in a little bit of trouble. They need to get that fixed. Right? Mike Vrabel needs to get that fixed. Listen, Cleveland, it's fun to make fun of them sometimes. Baker Mayfield had an exceptional game yesterday. Cleveland is playing well. They're 9-3.
I, on this show, have been very harsh on the front office in Cleveland. I have said that they needed to put down roots because they switch coaches every year. After every season, they fire their coach and they find a new one. And apparently they were doing something right because this year they are playing well. So I don't take that back, but I'm just saying, like.
Well, here's something to strengthen your point. Actually, one of the big narratives is forget all the like kind of global issues. They've been playing well since OBJ's been out.
I think I said that as well.
Yeah, you did. So it could be just that simple. Like he didn't have good chemistry with Baker, or Baker didn't have good, however you want to.
Or he could have just very well been toxic.
And exactly. And,
he seems like a toxic personality. So there's that.
Yeah. So however you want to interpret that, the point being they've won since he's been out, and Baker Mayfield has looked good since he's been out. So
they were saying yesterday he made one of the best passes in his career. That, his short career so far, that corner end zone pass.
Oh, absolutely. Listen, I watched that entire game, and he from beginning to end, that was clearly one of his best performances. And I know the pass you're talking about, and yes, that was exceptional. So
I'm glad that my Sunday ticket is being put to good use because I can't watch it.
Yeah. Hey, thank you. Absolutely. And look, I'm glad I didn't watch the game last week when my Raiders played the Falcons, because I probably would have taken my laptop and threw it through the window.
Yeah, we don't need that.
But anyway, no, we don't. Ravens and Steelers. So let's talk about that, because the Steelers just lost tonight to Washington after playing a horrible game. And we've alluded to the fact that they've been playing badly against Baltimore. And we already talked about RG3. That had to be moved around for COVID. So they played on Wednesday of last week.
And then the game today was played at 5 because it had to be postponed. And then the Ravens game tomorrow against the Cowboys was postponed from today or something like that. But no, the Ravens game tomorrow against the Cowboys was originally supposed to be, I want to say yesterday maybe, but they just had to keep moving stuff around. Yeah, they just moving shit.
Look, Mike Tomlin basically spazzed.
He like about to cry on the sideline when I saw him.
Oh, his eyes were very yellow tonight, but spazzed on the. Yeah, I mean, it could be that. It could be the Jordan thing. Spazzed on them last week after their performance because it was nonsense. They were dropping passes. They were just it was just sloppy. And when he spazzed on them, I was watching PTI, and Wilbon was like, "Oh, he basically made it sound like he was grandstanding, like he just wanted to wake them up." No,
he's pissed.
Dude, he was mad, and he knew what he was seeing, and it played out today. So Pittsburgh needs to fix that. Baltimore, in the meantime, Lamar Jackson needs to come back from COVID. They need to get everybody back. And but Baltimore still has been up and down too. I've been sticking up for them, but it's hard to do that with with the way that they're playing a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, but tomorrow night will be a good opportunity for them to try to get that.
They better beat the Cowboys
back on track. And look, the Cowboys have only beat them once in the Ravens' history. So
yeah,
I don't think that they're gonna come in there and win tomorrow either. So I mean,
yeah, I didn't mention this earlier, but when we were talking about the NFC East, but Ezekiel Elliott's stats like
trash,
horrible,
basura,
horrible. Yeah, so they better beat them. And we've already talked about Cincinnati. So now sticking with South. So Houston, we talked about them. Jacksonville, they're 1-10, so they're out of the mix. The Colts,
they are surging.
Yeah. Now
T.Y. Hilton
they got thumped by Tennessee. Yeah, go ahead.
No, they didn't get thumped by Tennessee. Didn't they beat them?
No. Tennessee smashed them.
Tennessee smashed the Colts?
Yes, a couple weeks ago.
So we talking about last week. Okay.
Right. So yesterday, again, we got 2 games to cover for a lot of people, but Tennessee got smashed by the Colts got smashed by Tennessee like 2 games ago, 8 days ago.
Oh, that's right, because that's when T.Y. Hilton got all those yards in garbage time.
Exactly. But then yesterday they beat Houston. So Houston had beaten Detroit in Thanksgiving, and they played yesterday. They lost it.
Does it feel like the Colts are 8-4? It didn't feel like their record is that good.
I kind of mea culpa that like a couple of shows ago when I was like, "Yo, I'm out here acting like the Colts are like taking all these losses. They're actually winning games. I'm tripping."
Yeah.
No, they're 8-4. Actually, my Raiders have them this week, and the way we've been playing, they should smash us. Honestly.
I'm playing T.Y. Hilton this week because they're playing y'all.
Yeah, exactly. Our defense
don't play defense.
Is trash. It's trash. So they should smash us. So the Colts are good. That's why I wanted to make sure we didn't leave from them. Now, actually,
Frank Reich.
See, one thing I want to say, and we've alluded to it. Frank Reich, yes. This Jacoby Brissett thing where they like bring him in for, that's a thing. That's a real thing. And I alluded to it before, like they only do it like once in a while. No, any short yardage situation in any like high risk situation, they bring him in.
They did that with Andrew Luck.
He had 2 touchdowns when they needed to go like short yardage. Now, when Andrew Luck was there, I only saw them bring him in to do like Hail Marys and stuff.
Yeah, because he didn't have an arm. Like he came in just to have the arm for Andrew Luck.
Exactly. But
so
now
you're saying it's the opposite.
No. It's they still are doing that, but what they're also doing is they won't even let Phillip Rivers like do a QB sneak. If it's anything high risk, they'll take Phillip Rivers out and bring Jacoby Brissett in. Period.
Yeah, so disrespectful to Jacoby Brissett.
Yeah,
I feel like he earned that job last year.
He did. He's kind of embracing it, I guess, because he's scoring touchdowns and stuff like that. So he's putting stuff on paper.
I think he's embracing it because he's happy to have a job.
I guess, but they had already signed him, so I just whatever. But it rubs me the wrong way. But I guess they've all talked it through, and it works fine. West, real quick, we already talked about the Chargers. We really already talked about the Raiders. Trash. We're 7-5. This might be the most angry I've been at a 7-5 team. Kansas City is still rolling. Again, they're winning games. They're 10-1. Most people
11-1.
Or excuse me, 11-1. Excuse me. Most people in power rankings have them above Pittsburgh. Well, now they definitely will be.
Yeah.
But even before that, they had him, and I would agree with that. I mean, they just got people open all over the field. Tyreek Hill damn near had like 200 yards in the first half last week. I still don't think he should be playing football, but what do people care about?
Tyreek Hill and Kareem Hunt should not have jobs.
Yeah,
what the fuck? What are we doing out here?
Right. And then the Broncos is who the Chiefs played last night, and actually it was a little bit like you said. You alluded to earlier. It was a closer game than. I mean, it's a division game. Broncos typically play the Chiefs pretty close. So, but, barring any kind of mishap, Chiefs are going to win the division. They're 11-1. That's fine. Everybody's fine there. So that's NFL Nutshell. Normally, I guess because of COVID, it's been doing all this crazy stuff. This would have been the doldrums, like after Thanksgiving for the next 2 or 3 weeks. But there's just so much stuff up in the air that these are exciting weeks. It's not normal. And then because the other sports have been thrown off too. So, we are where we are. It's exciting times in the NFL. See how this thing turns.
Yeah. Couple quick hits before we wrap up the show. There was a Texas high school football player who hit a referee. He was charged with a Class A assault. He had been ejected for whatever reason, and then he ran onto the field and body slammed the ref into the ground. So he's definitely been charged with assault.
You see the video?
No, I did not, and I do not want to see it.
Yeah, it was horrible.
I can imagine that it was.
He needs to never play anything ever again.
And he probably won't be able to.
And he had done that. He played soccer before that. Did the same thing to a ref in the soccer game.
And then
he should have been in that game.
Exactly. Why are we letting this clown play? He out here tackling refs.
Correct.
And also an update to something that we've talked about in great detail in the past. The U.S. women's national soccer team reached a settlement with the federation, which now makes them able to appeal certain other aspects of the suit. We talked about in the past how they definitely did not. The court did not side with them on the wage issue. So they made settlements regarding health benefits and some other things. Cool. And so now it kind of opens the door for them to maybe possibly get that equal wage that they were seeking before. So
that's cool. When that happened?
That was earlier this week or last week, because this is Monday. My bad. I keep thinking like this is Saturday.
Yeah. Yeah, I know, right? That's great. I mean, step one, but let's get it done. Cool stuff.
I mean, yeah, they look here. If not for them, soccer in the USA would be trash. Like, let's be real. We've talked about this before. They deserve more respect than what they're getting.
Yeah. Starting to get in Premier League soccer, actually. So when I watch that, it makes me realize how bad the men are here.
Yeah, but I don't.
You got anything else?
No, let's think it's time to wrap it up. It's been a supersized edition.
Yeah, because we need to save our energy for these big shows we got going.
Yeah, I'm really excited about what's coming up. So thank you guys for listening to episode 88. Is this the Michael Irvin episode?
You know what, Playmaker? Yeah, we've talked very well about Mike Irvin, and I think we both had that in mind when we were like 88. It could be like a bunch of people, but yeah,
88 could really be a bunch of people.
It could be a bunch, but I think we both had Playmaker in mind. We talked well about him. I stumbled across the episode where he had that health scare, and it reminded me, like, man, it seemed serious at the time, but it's good to see that. I guess nothing came of that because he seems fine. We look, even people who don't realize it, we need Michael Irvin in our lives. Absolutely. Because he's completely entertaining. Absolutely. But again, thanks everybody for listening to this episode of the Stop Playing Podcast. As always, you can find us on Facebook and Instagram at the Stop Playing Podcast, and also on Twitter at stop_playing_pod. Please visit our website, www.stopplayingpodcast.com, and you can find out how to listen to the episodes. Most notably, we're on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and Spotify. And you can also visit our YouTube channel at the Stop Playing Podcast. Like we always say, keep your chips on the plate, no double dipping unless it's the podcast, and we'll talk to you real soon.
Stop playing.